Good evening and welcome to Beyond Gardens Live, or welcome back to Beyond Gardens Live. We've had a terrific lot of feedback. It's been very encouraging, and this program, I might point out, is quite unique in terms of Australian television because it's the only one that lets you call in and talk to us live. And it's only made possible by our sponsors. The sponsors for us for Beyond Gardens Live are the Water Corporation, the City of Swan, the City of Mandurah, and the City of Stirling, and we're very grateful for their support. As indeed we are grateful for your support as well. And don't forget, Beyond Gardens Live is an interactive program, so you can talk to us. How?
Yes, so call us 6468 5994.
Or you can do an email on TV at beyondgardens.com.au.
And very rudely, I forgot to interrupt our special panel on this program. To interrupt.
It's all right, they're getting...
To introduce might be a better word for it, yes. So on my right and your left is John McWilliams, and on my left and your right is Garry Heady, and I'm John Colwil, and we are here to do what we can for you in your garden. Yeah. Please feel free to join us.
Great, thanks, John. This weekend we had some great fun at the Gidgegannup.
Good weekend.
Yeah, it was a very good weekend. Beautiful weather for it too. Gidgegannup Small Farm Field Day, and here's what we got up to.
Over the top, saying, all right, where are the bloody cabbages, you know? So you do get some pest control out of it as well.
That's it, that's on the bush veranda. Make your way towards the shaded part behind the monkeys. And that's where the kids' activities are going on. Learn to plant and feed with Alison and the crew from Beyond Gardens.
Well done, buddy. Yeah. That way. Yeah.
We're just around this side, okay?
Mommy, we made a flower put out of newspaper.
Whoa, maybe take a little bit out. Okay? What? You're gonna put a little hole in the middle with your finger first, and then you can drop the seed in.
I'll just chuck them all in one nylon. They're all together, so it doesn't matter.
Emily, what are you doing? Making a flower pot.
And then, do you want to stand? Get her to stand on the chair. Just,
Oh yeah, stand on the chair.
stand her up. Just hang on to her a bit in case the chair moves. That's it.
Put some soil in there.
Yes, haven't seen it yet, but apparently there is a wall. We're waiting to see it. But to me, because you're getting macadamias right now, drop into the ground. Don't have to bother to pick them up. Your only challenge is opening the nuts. But yes, it's another story.
That's right.
Okay, so that's trees.
Just a quick comment on the deciduous trees. Use those to your advantage as well. Yes, they'll provide you with food. They'll also provide the birds with food, that's for sure. But again, there's a hell of a lot of information now on solar passive design.
So what kind have you got? I've got a carpet, a stimmy, and a yeah, but he's in it.
Right, so we're at the Gidgegannup Small Farm Field Day, and I thought we would just head off out of the showgrounds onto the bushland that's surrounding it to see if we can find any edible Australian food plants. And there's quite a lot, surprisingly. This one, for example, this is the milkmaid, Burkhardia, and you can see that's last year's flower. And you can see another one here. And here's this year's growth, well, this season's growth. It's got a little leaf there, one single leaf coming up like that, and it's in a kind of a V shape. Under the ground, you'll find a little star of tubers, and they're starchy, and for thousands of years that provided seasonally quite a little bit of starch food for people. So there you go. It's amazing what you find when you look around. Alright, here's a Thoria grass tree here. Got 20 recorded uses. Some of the edible uses are the little fresh green leaves here. They're called mindari. Also, the yellow gum that flows down the flower spike. Yellow flowing is the name of this plant, Thoria. So just a taste of the usefulness of this plant.
And there we go, gives you going up Small Farm Field Day. It was a great day, in fact. And you saw there some of the other members of the Beyond Gardens team that perhaps you hadn't seen before. So Alison Dawn was featured, Tara Heady, strange that the name's the same, and Steve McCabe, and we're going to be seeing more of Steve.
Yeah, well, the good news is that I'm vacating the chair next week and you'll get to meet our very own bush tucker man, Steve McCabe. And this is the sort of thing we have to put up with Steve all the time, because every time we stop a car out in the bush, off goes Steve, and you're amazing how often he finds something to eat.
I don't mind him finding things to eat. It's when he insists that we eat.
That's right as well, yeah.
That's another story. This is Beyond Gardens Live. Don't forget, you can talk to us. That's the whole concept of the program. There are a couple of ways you can get in touch, and they're dead easy, and you can do it live right now. Stick your fingers in the dialing hole, except nobody has those anymore, do they?
No,
Punch the button.
push buttons, yes.
Showing my age.
And that number there is 64685994. Emails?
And
or you
emails
can
as well.
try.
We have a lot of emails already, but we're all always welcome
and
to
we
take
always
more.
like the TV at beyondgardens.com.au, but please remember to put a photo on, because that makes it a lot easier for us.
This is television.
Yeah.
That's pictures and images are what it's all about. In fact, we've got to the stage now. Should we take some emails or move on to another topic?
Let's take an email.
Let's take an email or two. What have you got? Who's doing the emails
Very
today?
quick one. Shall we? Let's have a look here.
Okay.
Just a very quick one. Shall we talk about rats?
Oh,
while we're
why not?
While we're on the subject of pests.
What a way to start.
Dirty rats.
And with winter coming up, actually, it's topical because you tend to see the rats, well, maybe it's the fact that they move inside during winter.
That's more the problem spot. But we have Wendy from Duncraig. She has some very serious problems about keeping rats out of the fruit trees. The mandarins disappear, they chew the passion fruits, kumquats, and even lemons. Eating new shoots on the vines, that wouldn't surprise me, and they scurry along the fence behind the trees.
They eat lemons too. Look, this is what they can do to a lemon. Actually, it depends what sort of mood they're in. Sometimes they eat the outside of the lemon, and other times they eat the inside of the lemon.
Yes,
yeah, it's strange. But not limited to lemons by any means. That's a tomato. Oops, gradually getting a little bit off centre, but we'll fix that in a moment. And then I love this one because this is pomegranate with less fattening centre, definitely. Nothing left. So rats are a real problem in terms of attacking our fruit trees. But the question was, how can we stop them getting the fruit trees? And the answer is, any thoughts?
Apart from the traditional trapping and things like that, there certainly are predator-friendly baits now that will only kill the rat, but they certainly won't pass on that secondary poisoning to owls and birds of prey and even dogs and cats that pick up a dead rat. And they're very effective. However, in a suburb where you've got a lot of fruit trees, a lot of older suburbs with cocos palms and the like, the population of rats is huge. Yeah, it really is.
And I think it'd be fair enough to say that if you want a bit of a fright, go have a look up into your cocos palms and the palm trees. You might find nesting rats up there.
Rat Central, aren't they?
That's why basically you end up with so many hawks flying around some of these trees, because they drop down every now and then and grab a rat.
And people are looking for a barrier for rats. Now, there's not really one. I've got an image which is not classic. It's actually of a possum barrier, but it's the same thing. And if you guys can just hold the image there, because I'm going to do something that you'll never see except on live television. I'm going to bring this image back to the centre of the picture a bit. Okay,
that
all
will
right.
keep John.
That's better. Now, this is a physical barrier that stops, it's actually for possums, that stops the possums climbing, so they slip on that. You can do the same for rats. You can also have, if you're familiar with those little cones that they have on mooring ropes of ships, designed to stop rats. But they all fall down if your plant has any part touching the fence, touching another tree or whatever. The barrier at the bottom's a waste of time, unfortunately. You have our deepest sympathies, but we can't offer you anything radical for curing rats.
Yeah, no,
we'd like to.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right.
Should we do another email?
Yes, just quickly. We would like some calls as well. So remember, 6468 5994 is the number to call us, and yeah, we always look forward to a live call.
Okay, so let's come back to the emails. What have you got? Take your pick.
This is probably a little bit late for this time of the year with the rains, but it can probably lead us on to another question, and it is from Emily, and she has a problem with her potted plants on an apartment balcony. It's a north-facing apartment balcony. How does she keep the potted plants moist? Is there anything she can put into the soil to help this situation? It creates a problem, especially when I could be away for more than 2 weeks from home. She's put in inverted water bottles with holes in the bottle caps. That gives the plants a reasonable soak. When she's obviously at home, the plants are thriving okay.
Yeah, I thought she was doing pretty well for 2 weeks.
Yeah, absolutely.
Of course, there are self-watering pots.
Yes.
And these things, it's probably a good idea, isn't it, a situation like that. So these are pots that have a little well at the bottom. But the other thing, too, that I would recommend that you try is to add some clay. We talk about clay a lot in terms of improving the soil, but it also dramatically improves the potting mix to add both some sand and some clay to it, and that will not only bulk it up, it will prevent slumpage, which is where the potting mix goes down, but also will dramatically increase the water holding capacity. And that, what was our emailer's name?
Emily.
That Emily will probably see your plants go another 30, 40%, perhaps more than they do now.
And even using the mulch.
And the water-saving mulch on the top, which we won't go through it too much because we'll sound like we're banging on about it. But, you know, a good mulch is going to save you a lot of trouble. But we're bound to have a question or two about mulch.
So the important thing with the mulch is just to leave that gap. When you fill up your pot, leave that amount so your mulch comes up to the surface.
Absolutely. One other thing you might like to look at, and that's just a little piece of technology. To buy an automatic watering system is fairly expensive, but you can buy a much simpler version, which is a battery-operated one that simply screws onto the tap. And you can program those to come on once a week if you want to, once every 10 days. And that might be a relatively simple solution to have that and a nice slow emitter onto the pot.
Yeah.
Hope it helps, Emily. You can email us too. Don't forget the email address, tv@beyondgardens.com.au. It's simple.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Speaking of diseases. Shall we...
yes, why not?
Talk about a very common disease in Perth. It starts at around the start of summer, and if you haven't addressed that problem to begin with, you'll still see signs of this problem. And people confuse it with a lot of things, but the real reason is thrips.
This is what a healthy Agonis flexuosa nana looks like. But unfortunately, this is what many of them actually look like, all dried out, washed, bleached. They look like they're on death's door. They're tough plants, they might survive, but the trouble is, we don't know what's causing the problem. Well, I can tell you, the cause is very small indeed, though often present in very large numbers. It is thrips. A thrips is a tiny fly, that's all it is, that rasps and sucks its way through the foliage, literally sucking the life out of the plant. But because it's so small, we don't see it, so we don't know what the cause is, and neither do we know how to treat it. Here's your simple test if you suspect that thrips are around. Put a sheet of white paper underneath the plant and then belt the plant quite vigorously, anything will do, in an attempt to dislodge the little beasties onto the white background where you can see them quite easily. They might be black or they might be immature brown ones. This is but one symptom of the problems that they cause. On other plants, their feeding activities result in curled or distorted new growth, and it can make a real mess on things like bottle brush. In that case, the best thing to do is simply to prune the affected growth off and destroy it, get a little bit of vengeance on the thrips. But with a plant like the Agonis flexuosa nana, it may well recover and make new growth if you can control the insect in the first place. You can use a systemic pill to put in the ground, or white oil at least will give you some control. And hopefully this will look like this again. This is Beyond Gardens Live, and whilst that was pre-recorded, you can take part in our program absolutely live. Somewhat surprisingly, no phone calls, so your opportunity getting quick, because I can assure you that towards the end of the program, they all line up. So, you know, usual deal, best deal, get in early. Number is dead simple, but I can never remember it.
646859994.
Well, there you go. And the email we've been through a couple of times, but just to remind you, tv@beyondgardens.com.au. So that was thrips. Look out for them if you can. And say that sheet of white paper is a great trick, and they can affect all different parts of the plants. Just before we move on, I thought you might be interested in seeing this. This is a picture of flower thrips, and you can actually see this is a rose, and you can actually see the thrips on the rose itself. If you look very closely, that is. Are we going to get that, or am I not doing it right, guys? No? Okay. It would appear we're not going to get that. I'll try again. Okay, all right. There it is. Oh, the wonder of live television. Yeah. Hooray, all right. Yeah. Look very closely and you can see those little specks, not the big round specks, but rather the very small ones. So they're tiny and they're dead easy to miss, but geez, they can make a real mess. That's thrips. We'll leave thrips alone for a while unless you want to talk about them. And we shall go to the phone, shall we?
Yes, we shall go to the phones.
So the early bird prize for callers goes to?
I don't know. Hello, caller. Are you there?
Hello, welcome to Beyond Gardens Live.
Hello?
Hello.
Hello.
Who's this?
Oh, hi, I'm Christine.
Christina, where are you from, Christine?
I'm in Kenwick.
Kenwick, great. Yep, and what's your question for tonight?
I'd like to know how to do the maintenance on succulents.
I missed the
we got the succulents bit, Christine. Yes, but...
Maintenance.
Oh, just generally looking after them, is that right?
Yes, they all look fine when they're young, but as they get bigger, when's the right time of year to cut them back? And when they flower, where do you cut them off?
Well, this is an interesting point because succulents, a succulent is not an individual group or a genus of plants or even a family of plants. It is any plant that stores basically moisture in its stems or in its leaves, and it runs right across the whole gamut of plants that we grow. So what I'm really saying is it's not easy to give positive, simple guidelines as to how to look after them. But a couple of suggestions perhaps I might make. Most succulents are succulent because they go through a time of year when it's very, very dry. So the extreme is something like the cactus or the boabs, another classic case. Absorb moisture during the wet season, or some of the desert species, it might rain once in 20 years. Take all the moisture in you can very, very quickly, and then hold on to it and store it in the leaves and stems. For that reason, many of the succulents we choose to grow, Christine, go off in winter. It's quite common for them to go off in winter. Particularly some of the aloes and some of the other plants that we grow for ornamental purposes can get really miserable in winter when it's too wet and too cold. So as far as the maintenance for those is concerned, and not a bad general guideline anyway, bring them inside. Stop the rain from hitting them.
Yeah, absolutely.
So the real cacti enthusiasts, they have a roof over their cacti because winter is the time when we lose the lot. Ooh. Now, can we go further than that? I'm not sure that we can. If you have an individual name, then maybe we can help you. Do we? Christine, do you know anyone in particular? Hello, Christine. I think Christine has
we've lost Christine.
Closed the garden gate, but never mind.
We do have another caller on the line.
Hello. Hello, welcome to the program.
Yes, look, it's John speaking. How are you?
Yeah, we're well, John. Where are you from?
many Johns?
Ballajura.
Okay.
Oh.
I just have a question for my lime tree.
Yes.
It is established and it's had fruit on, and it's now obviously we've picked fruit. It's obviously had a problem with the leaf infestation, or what do you call it, curly leaf sometime.
Yep.
And I just want to know, well, to prepare it for next year, should I perhaps consider trimming it back and then stripping it of the leaves and the foliage and perhaps put some in pesticide?
Oh, can you see my face, John?
Yeah.
Don't do it. Don't do it.
Don't strip the leaves off it.
No. It's the citrus are not deciduous. So if you strip the leaves off, you cause serious damage. So you want to leave all the leaves on you can. Even those damaged leaves, will, if they've still got some green on them, will still be contributing to the tree's overall growth. At this time of year, what you do with citrus is, hey, lean back and enjoy the fruit.
Absolutely.
That's about it.
Yes. Yep.
That's about it.
Absolutely.
I wouldn't be madly fertilising them. I certainly would maintain the mulch, but
Certainly
that's it.
maintain mulch, and then when they start getting that flush of new growth, start introducing certainly trace elements in Ballajura, and then make sure
Everywhere.
everywhere. But everywhere in Perth, and the mulch. Make sure that mulch is up there for summer.
And John, to be perfectly honest, they're actually saving you the hassle of having to keep pruning your tree.
Oh, this is the little leaf miner on the top. Yeah.
So they're just keeping the new leaves down, and then you don't have to get up there with loppers and things.
Yep.
I get it all the time, and I need to keep mine low because I'm right near the beach, and anything that pops its head up gets blasted by the sea breeze.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, so just ignore the leaf, early leaf, and carry on.
Yep.
Yes,
absolutely.
Yes. So,
John.
I mean, look, this is, I think we showed this picture last week, but just in case, to avoid confusion, because it's television and we can, then that's what citrus leaf miner looks like, and that does also cause the curling leaf as well. Don't worry too much, is what we're saying, John.
No worries. Thanks very much.
Okay. All right. Thanks for your call.
Thanks, John.
You have messages? No.
No.
Okay.
It's
All right. Isn't live television
That's
wonderful?
great, yeah.
Don't forget, you can be part of it.
Although the lime does link into the next segment quite nicely.
Yeah.
Does it?
Yeah, so just yesterday, Luke and I went for a bit of a drive, and this is what we got up to. When we were at Garden Week, we met some wonderful kids from Singleton Primary School. So we're just going to go and check out their garden. Come with me.
Welcome to Singleton Primary School, and this is our garden.
I only want to see 2 people working on the pitchforks, working with the pitchforks in a bay at a time. I will give the rest of you other jobs.
Awesome. Hello, my name's Adrian, and I'm going to plant these aquaponic plants in here once I've done getting this mulch off.
My name's Jordan Bennett. My name's Sebastian Berry. My name is Harmony, and we're going to be planting these in our aquaponic garden.
Okay.
This is our vertical garden made out of 2-litre bottles with strawberries grown in it. I'm Kira.
I'm Emma,
I'm Kira.
and we're making a path and then putting a bench for a sitting area.
Kevin, how long has this been going on for?
Garry, the initial submission went into the Stephanie Alexander Foundation about 4 years ago, and we had a very energetic teacher put that together. We were lucky enough for the submission to be accepted, and we received a grant for $65,000 to establish the garden and also a kitchen program to go with it. One of the things we notice with kids these days is that a lot of them don't have the experience at home to see where the food actually comes from. Phil Cousins, who runs the program here, has a terrific knowledge in taking food from the seed to the table, and he takes the kids along for the ride, and it's a really enjoyable journey. We place a big emphasis on trying to fill that gap that has developed over time, where kids are not necessarily being given that knowledge at home for a variety of reasons, but we're trying to do that here. The kids love it. Phil's got a new lease of life as a teacher. He's having an absolute ball, and it's become a real centrepiece of what Singleton offers the community. Welcome back to Singleton, Luke.
Thank you, Bevan.
And one thing hasn't changed. I do remember Luke Heady as a student here not having too many words to say, and things haven't changed a great deal by the look of it.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of too much talking.
Okay. It's great to see you back here, Luke.
Thank you. It's been great.
Well done with the job you're doing here.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Kane, and I was wondering why we have spots on our Swiss chart.
Thank you, Beyond Garden, for coming to Singleton Primary. Back to the Beyond Gardens panel.
Well, it's a nice throw, isn't it? Nice to get that. But they did actually pose a question towards the end, Garry.
Yeah, and we've got a picture to give a close-up just to see what the problem Kane has.
Yeah, so we're having a problem with their...
Swiss chard.
Swiss chard. Silver beet, Swiss chard. Yes, okay, it's not
here
bad.
it is.
Yeah, there it is. And the problem, perhaps difficult to see, perhaps, but you can probably make out spots on the leaf. So not surprisingly, it's called leaf spot. And not surprisingly, when you consider the environment it's in, it's caused by a fungus.
Yeah. So what we have is a situation here is, and it loves warm, moist environments. So what we have here is probably a little bit of overwatering, a lot of compost and things to attract ferment flies and things like that. And of course, what we end up doing is getting spores coming through and finding a lovely spot to set up shop.
So soil a bit too rich, and the mulch I noticed was straw mulch, and we're not great fans of straw mulch. That would be letting the moisture through and creating a damp environment as well. So it's a bit of a problem, leaf spot. It occurs, I've also got a picture here of it occurring on another plant, and you can see what sort of a mess it can make, and this is a matter of providing the right conditions. Treating the plants with a fungicide, not really an option when you're talking about edible plants.
No, that's right. So basically what they can do is obviously, well, certainly cut back on the water and then start mulching with, again, a rough coarse mulch, as we've already previously said. We won't
and water down at ground level if they can.
Yeah, start introducing the inline drip irrigation. And probably when it comes to replanting that bed, they could probably start maybe incorporating a bit of sand just to cut that organic matter.
Open it up a bit.
Yep.
And okay. I tell you what, I spent 2.5 hours with those kids, and they were absolutely magnificent.
Oh,
the teaching staff have got a magnificent setup going on, and we look forward to coming back and having another look, and of course linked to the Stephanie Alexander Kitchen Garden Foundation.
Yeah, indeed. We should talk about that in more detail one of these days, fairly shortly.
Yes,
we hope. Now, we have calls queuing up, is that right?
We do, but it's time for a commercial break.
Oh.